I will get into the innovation index in just a moment, but we wanted to make sure that we showed this to really emphasize the point, I think, that Dr. Kapoor and Mr. Kant were making before about the importance of local innovation. The product that we talked about, that you just saw there, was innovated in India, by India, but it is not just for India. It is going to be taken around the world. And so from our vantage point, we look at India today as not only being a source of incredible talent, a terrific market and a growing market, but also as a source of ideas of how do you innovate for the rest of the world, for the 4+ billion people who can use products like this. So with that by way of introduction, Dr. Khan needs no introduction, obviously, but among the many things that you've accomplished has really been utilizing tools like the Innovation Index to drive change in India, within government. So share with us a little bit, if you would, how you envision this. You've talked about this competitive and cooperative dynamic among states. How do you envision this changing actual policy to enable that innovation, to enable that vision?
So Karan, the key challenge for India is to really, as I said, to grow rapidly. And that can't happen without technologically leapfrogging in many areas. And one of the key things which we've tried to do is that, India is a very, very large country. And therefore, it's very important that states become your key driver of growth. And if India, as the Prime Minister set this target of $5 trillion economy by 2025, has to happen, then several states have to more than double their GDP within the next 5 years. I mean, that's the ambition which they must have. They must transform. And the only way to do it is to really make these states do transformational work. Now, how do you do this in a federal polity with such a large country? And the only way to do it is if you're able to capture data, if you're able to define outcomes, if you're able to make them compete, if you're able to put that data out in public domain, and if you say that good governance is good politics, and people must question the local administration to say as to why you've done well and why you've not done well. And we've been doing this across ease of doing business. We did this on education. We did this on health. We did this on water management. So people started asking the states as to why my district has done so badly in health and other districts have done much better. And therefore, we thought of innovation, because innovation is really the key to competition. Innovation is really the key to growth, is the key to prosperity. And that's how we worked on this innovation index. And we said, let everyone know where they are with innovation. And what it really does is, then the states start looking at themselves, and they say that they start learning from each other. And they say that Karnataka has done well in this particular area, and we need to emulate that. Gujarat has done well in this particular area, and they all start emulating. And a great example of this is in the aspirational district program. And one of the district magistrates of Banka district, which is one of the poorest districts in India, started with these digital dashboards and used mobile, Mera Mobile, Mera Vidyalaya, that my mobile is my education class, and used digital transformation. And his learning outcomes in that backward district of Banka went up from 17% to close to 80% in 2 years' time. I mean, that is the transformation which technology makes. And therefore, the only way for rapid progressive growth and also to improve on learning outcomes, health outcomes, is the use of technology and innovation.
The messages of transparency, the message of what you measure, you will deliver, I think resonate with all of us. But let me, this is a political realm. It's great if you are Karnataka, if you are at the top of the list. What sort of reactions do you get from the states that are at the bottom of the list?
Quite unfavorable initially, but we started shaming them quite openly. We've been very ruthless, we've been very brutal. I mean, we've just put this out in public domain. So what we find, and we found this in even the aspirational district, the districts which are doing badly are not because of funds. They get the same amount of funds, They get the same amount of resources as the best performing district.
Yeah.
But they do badly because there's a lack of morale. There's a lack of teachers, there's a lack of doctors, and there's a lack of governance.
Yeah.
The challenges of fixing governance right. And when you put this out in public domain, the states which are not performing well then start fixing governance right.
So, by the way, we're going to have mic circulating around here momentarily, so please think about questions. We're going to open it up to the audience. But let me ask you, if I can, I know this is a piece of a broader array of activities that the government under the Prime Minister Modi's leadership is thinking about as to how to spur innovation. You were mentioning to me tinkering labs, for instance, other initiatives that are being taken to sort of complement this. Do you want to share how this fits in the broader picture of how India is looking to spur innovation?
So, Karan, one of the challenges which we have as far as innovation is concerned is because we've really copied the Anglo-Saxon system of education. We study books, and then we mug them up and then get into the next class, and then we study again, we get into the next class. And I think it's important to break that Anglo-Saxon system of education of just studying and studying and studying, and not letting your mind think and not letting your mind fly and be more innovative. So one of the key things which we've done in NITI Aayog was Prime Minister launched this Atal Innovation Mission. And through the Atal Innovation Mission, we've supported close to about 5,000 tinkering labs. And in the tinkering labs, we provide robots, 3D printers, Internet of Things, all from class 6 onwards. And in the next 2 years, we'll be touching close to about 25,000 schools with just these tinkering labs. And these are like tinkering labs not merely for that school, but also for the community around. So others close by schools can come and use these tinkering labs. We found them so innovative, and the children from all these areas have done such path-breaking work. In fact, we ran this competition of a school which was in a slum area. And a public school, one of the best public schools, a tinkering lab in the best public schools, and the IIT, one of the Indian Institutes of Technology, their students. And we posed challenges for them. And we found that the children from the slum area were actually far more innovative than IIT or the public school students, because these children were finding solutions to the problems that they were confronted with, challenge of not having water, challenge of excessive degree of garbage. So I think we also do this. We support a lot of incubation centers from NITI Aayog, and we do a lot of grand challenges to find solutions to India's problems. And to my mind, we're trying to bring a kind of disruption in India's education system, which has not been seen before.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, let me open it up for questions. I think we have a mic. Can we see I think we've got a question right here. The gentleman in the red tie. And if you could identify yourself, please.
Thank you. Should I stand up?
Please.
Okay, my name is Ramesh Deshpande. I'm formerly of World Bank and now working on, we have an India Agricultural Group here, where we work on policy issues in India Agriculture.
Thank you.
I thank you very much, Dr. Kant. It was an excellent presentation. New vision, you are giving new vision to India. My question is, you talk about states. States should become more responsible. But if you see the whole budget management, budget structure, institutions, central government has a finger in every pie. And in many places that is a constraint. It's procedural constraint, bureaucratic constraints. So what is the thinking on reforming the government itself? Question number one. Institutions. Many institutions in India, old mandates, set up under Acts of Parliament in 1940s, 50s, 60s, they have become out. They can't cope up with the challenges we have in India. Second, going industry. Legal framework is a very big problem. My family invests in is a venture capitalists. They invest in projects in India, and it's a big challenge to do. The bureaucratic framework. Number two, the cost of doing business, very high. So what do we do with legal framework improving? I know the bankruptcy law, but that's the end of it. To go there, to do start the business and function efficiently is a big issue. Finally, risk management. We saw various programs, Mudra loans, these loans, that loans. The new enterprises are 40% mortality. 40% mortality. Who is taking the risk? Is government taking the risk? Is there a better models available where risk can be better management? Can there be public-private partnerships to do venture capital investment? These are the big issues that we pose. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Well, he's posed all the problems of India. I don't have a solution to all the problems of India. But
That's next year's show.
Yeah,
So.
I'm like a manager, and my job is really to see that whatever we do must be done to transform India.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the key things I must tell you is that, since you're not in India and you're based in America, you should be tracking the changes because, I've been a part of government for 40 years, and I used to come from my state to the Planning Commission every year. We used to have 5-year plans. We used to have annual plan. The Planning Commission used to control the flow of resources. All that has vanished.
Yeah.
Mr. Pandey, all that has vanished. States don't come to Government of India anymore. I mean, they have nothing to do. Now we do a 15-year vision document, we do a 7-year strategy, we do a 3-year action plan. We don't even do planning in India. States are totally autonomous. The only control, let me tell you, that we have over the states, center doesn't have a pie in anything, let me tell you this. The only control we have is to name and shame them. So you must come back to India to see the change in India. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Good. Let's. Do we have time for one?
Yeah.
One more. Okay. Trying to stay. One more question over here.
Good morning, Dr. Kant. Thank you for a very illuminating talk. My name is Kajal Joshi. I work with the consulting firm Sanam S4. We partner with the government of India very strongly in the realm of international higher education collaboration. So I guess my first question is, how do you see international partnerships in the realm of higher education growing this? And second quick question is, you mentioned the Atal Innovation Mission is spread across 25,000 schools. How soon do you plan to scale that up? Because given the size of India's school-age population, I think this kind of initiative needs to grow rapidly.
No, I think two excellent questions. One is that we had a committee which has greatly liberalized the higher education system in India. We've, all academic institutions which have a grading of more than 3.25 have been given all the autonomy in the world to do all collaborations, to select teachers from abroad, to get students from abroad, to charge any fees. So the higher education system has been totally freed up for including for digital education for those colleges and universities which grade more than 3.25. And therefore, my view is that actually you'll see 1,000 flowers bloom in the coming years in the field of higher education. And you'll have a huge amount of private sector investment coming into the higher education sector in the coming years. We've also started this Institute of Eminence, where country will create some really world-class institutions. And what we've allowed these colleges and universities to do is to enter into collaboration with all international universities and colleges. So a lot of Indian students which had actually been going abroad to study, they can go abroad, but what you will find is a lot of Indian universities doing collaborations with foreign universities to set up centers of excellence within India. So all these universities and all these prominent colleges and all these institutes of technologies and IIMs can all enter into collaborations, good collaborations, and give joint degrees with them in India.
Terrific. We could keep going, I know, but happily there is a panel, I think, to come where we can continue to flesh these out. I just close by thanking you, not only for your visit here today, but for your passion and for driving tough processes forward. None of this is easy. I know putting out these kinds of reports is not easy. It's what's going to change things. I was just in India. I can tell you, I can see the change. You can feel the change. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Karan, and thanks.